Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you watching online. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Chiara Monticone. I'm a senior policy analyst in the Financial Consumer Protection, Financial Education, and Financial Inclusion Unit at the OECD. On behalf of the OECD, it's really my great pleasure to welcome you all as we kickstart Global Money Week 2025 around the world. So this year marks the 13th edition of Global Money Week under the theme, Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow. During today's event and during the whole week, we will be exploring the impact of social media, influencers, peer pressure, and behavioral biases on the financial decision-making of young people, as well as on the role of financial education in helping young people, but all of us really in making sound financial decisions. Today's launch will be structured into two main parts. First of all, we will have the pleasure of hearing opening remarks from Yoshiki Takeuchi, OECD Deputy Secretary General, Maria Luisa Albuquerque, EU Commissioner for Financial Services and the Savings and Investment Union, and Camille Baudouin, Director for Financial Education, Expertise and Partnerships at the Autorité des Marchés Financiers in Quebec, Canada, and Chair of the IOSCO Committee on Retail Investors. We will then move to a panel discussion on understanding the role of influencers, social media, and behavioral biases in shaping the financial behavior of young people that will be moderated by Carmine Di Noia, OECD Director for Financial and Enterprise Affairs. So now I would really like to go into the launch of Global Money Week 2025, and I would like to invite OECD Deputy Secretary General Takeuchi to open the event and launch the 13th edition of Global Money Week. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Dear colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to launch the Global Money Week 2025 campaign under the theme, Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow. This marks the 13th edition of Global Money Week and the fifth organized by the OECD and its international network on financial education. What a different world and financial system we live in today compared to 13 years ago. The digital world and financial system we live in today compared to 13 years ago is totally different. The digital revolution has not only introduced new financial providers, products, and services, it has also transformed how consumers interact with financial services. In particular, the rise of influencers, social media influencers discussing financial topics, along with the developments of artificial intelligence, is reshaping the way financial information and advice are provided. This makes it increasingly difficult for consumers to distinguish reliable information from biased content. This is especially concerning given how financial decision-making process is influenced by behavioral biases, such as hard behavior, fear of missing out, and peer pressure, which are amplified by social media. This year's Global Money Week theme highlights these evolving challenges and their implications for young people's financial literacy. Young people are particularly vulnerable. Social media is a primary source of information for them, often blurring the lines between reputable and biased content. Many do not realize that financial advice on social media may be unregulated and commercially driven. They can also be easily swayed by online personalities. Those personalities are quite persuasive messages, reinforce behavioral biases, and lead to impulsive and sometimes harmful financial decisions. Findings from OECD's 2022 Program for International Student Assessment, PISA, underscore the urgency of addressing these issues. The assessment, which measured 15-year-old students' financial literacy across 20 countries and economies, found out that, on average, 11% of students were top performers, capable of analyzing complex financial products and solving non-routine financial problems. Conversely, 18% of students performed below the baseline level indicating limited understanding of fundamental financial topics. As key insights from PISA 22 is the role of information sources in shaping young people's financial behavior. Across OECD countries and economies, over 60% of students reported regular discussions about money with their parents, demonstrating the strong influence of family guidance. At the same time, peer influence was also significant. 60% of students admitted to buying something because their friends had it, and nearly half reported spending more than they intended when they were with their friends. However, financial literacy appears to mitigate peer influence. High-performing students were less likely than low-performing students to make purchases based on peer pressure, even after accounting for other students' characteristics. In this context, strengthening financial literacy is essential. Young people must not only develop sound money management skills, but also learn to critically assess financial information, recognize the emotional trigger that leads to poor financial decisions, and resist social pressure that may push them towards unwise spending. So financial education plays a crucial role in this effort. Integrating financial literacy into schools' curricula, community programs, and digital platforms is key to equipping young people with the skills and knowledge they need to navigate today's financial landscape. At the OECD, we are committed to supporting countries in empowering young people to make informed financial decisions. The OECD recommendation on financial literacy recognizes the importance of these skills for current and future generations, encouraging all relevant stakeholders to promote financial literacies from early age. The OECD also developed, jointly with the European Commission, a financial competence framework for children and youth in European Union. So this would help policymakers and stakeholders design and evaluate financial education initiatives for young people. However, this year's Global Money Week theme goes beyond sound money management. It is also about developing critical thinking skills to navigate external influences from social media to peer pressure. And this is not an easy task, not even for adults, but it is essential. We must invest in equipping young people with the tools they need to thrive in an ever-evolving financial environment. Let us invest in their financial education today to lay the foundation for wiser financial decisions tomorrow. The OECD is proud to support Global Money Week today and in its years to come. I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizations, institutions, policymakers, and young people who contribute to its success year after year. I would also like to thank the South African G20 presidency for their support of this campaign. On behalf of the OECD, I wish you a wonderful Global Money Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Secretary General, for making the time to be with us today and for your inspiring words. We will now hear from our next speaker, Maria Luisa Albuquerque, EU Commissioner for Financial Services and the Savings and Investments Union, who is also a strong advocate for financial literacy. Unfortunately, Commissioner Albuquerque could not be with us today, but she has shared a video address that we will now be able to listen to.
Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to be able to take part in Global Money Week. The Global Money Week is a fantastic initiative, and I am thrilled to see such leadership from the OECD. This year's theme of Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow recognizes that the way we learn and who we turn to for advice has changed. We are living in a world where social media can have a dramatic impact on society and the financial market. It also impacts the decisions we make. We feel this impacts more and more often and strongly. Certain social media personalities can have a powerful effect on people's financial decisions and indeed on the economy. Recognizing such impacts puts financial literacy and digital financial literacy in particular in the spotlight and highlights its crucial importance. And this is what I would like to speak to you about today. Throughout the last decade, we have seen a shift in how we interact with everyday financial services. Think about it. We now use banking apps to manage our savings and investments. We can pay for our shopping by tapping our phones, and we can split a bill with friends instantly with a simple QR code. With AI being deployed into all corners of the economy, there is even more potential for change in the future. The digital finance tools available can make us all more financially savvy and can help us to take control of our finances. Being in control of your finances is about empowerment and about making life easier, but it's also about realizing that all decisions have consequences. Today, social media serves as a key educational platform for many, especially the younger generation. However, with the vast sea of information available, young people often find themselves navigating a tidal wave of content. This can be empowering, but it can also be overwhelming. Finfluencers are popping up everywhere across social media platforms. They're grabbing the attention of young people by making finance relatable and easy to understand through engaging content. A lot of these influencers really care about personal finance and want to help people take charge of their money. However, having such influence can also raise some red flags. We have seen that not all influencers operate with the best intentions or necessary expertise. Often, advice from influencers may be based on questionable data, can lack regulatory oversight, and they may not have the relevant qualifications. What's worse is that some of the advice given out by influencers is actually promotional marketing in disguise, meaning that these people have been paid or otherwise incentivized to promote a certain financial product. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, and there is real potential for abuse. On top of it, there is still the peer pressure to be part of something and the fear of missing out. This is why our own financial literacy is so important. Unfortunately, financial literacy in the EU isn't where it should be. According to a Eurobarometer survey from July 2023, only 18% of EU citizens have a high level of financial literacy. And this is not good enough. We need to be able to critically evaluate what we are reading, watching, and sharing. We need to be able to spot the biases, the scams, and the misinformation. It's crucial to remember that each person's financial situation is unique. So, when you see advice online, we have to be able to ask the important questions. Does this guidance truly serve my best interest? If this is such a good investment opportunity, why is it being disseminated and shared with so many people? To confidently answer that, we must first invest in our own financial education. In this digital age, knowledge is indeed power. While there is an abundance of information at our fingertips, choosing who to trust is important. We should be curious, but have a critical eye. From my side, as European Commissioner for Financial Services, I will be putting forward a strategy for financial literacy in the coming months. This, together with the upcoming Savings and Investments Union strategy to be adopted on 19th March, is a critical piece of the puzzle to making Europe's economy stronger and building wealth among Europeans. In closing, first, make sure you have all the elements and information you need, that the sources are trustworthy, that you know professionals or institutions with whom you can clarify doubts. The importance of financial literacy and the need for everyone to understand the tools and systems that shape our economy cannot be overstated. As we move forward, we must ensure that young people and individuals from all walks of life are empowered with the knowledge and skills necessary to navigate the financial world effectively. Only with this understanding can we build a sustainable and inclusive financial future for all. Remember, money moves best when you know how to move it. I wish you all a great day. Thank you.
Let me thank also Commissioner Albuquerque for these inspiring remarks. And I would now like to turn to Camille Bedoin, Director for Financial Education, Expertise and Partnerships at the Autorité des marchés financiers in Quebec, Canada, and also Chair of IOSCO Committee 8 on Financial Investors, which is actually going on today and tomorrow in Madrid. So Camille, thanks a lot for joining us today. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chiara. Distinguished OECD representatives, Mr. Deputy Secretary General, Madam European Commissioner, esteemed members and stakeholders. I'm truly honored to join you today for the launch of the 13th Global Money Week edition. From Madrid, at the IOSCO General Secretariat, I stand alongside my colleagues from the IOSCO Retail Investors Committee, including our Vice Chair, Mrs. Ana Frasquillo from Portugal. The IOSCO Retail Investors Committee, known as Committee 8, is dedicated to investor education and investor protection. Its members, hailing from all continents, contribute to its esteemed reputation among international stakeholders. We take pride in the participation of two panelists today, Florence Korn from the AMF France and Lynn Clark from the FSCA South Africa, both active members of the IOSCO Committee 8. In fact, many of our Committee 8 are members of the OECD INFE. Our long-standing relationship with the OECD is evident in collaborative efforts such as the IOSCO OECD Core Competencies Framework on Financial Literacy for Investors that we published in 2019. It rapidly became a reference for anyone working in the field of investor education and investor protection. Committee 8 values insights shared by the OECD experts during our meetings, fostering a mutual understanding of challenges faced by retail investors and enhancing the effectiveness of our initiatives. Looking ahead, we eagerly anticipate Chiara Monticone's participation in our meeting in Madrid, where we will delve into the successful governance of Global Money Week. Chiara's expertise will inspire our work for the coming edition of another global event dedicated to financial education, and for which our two organizations are collaborating closely, the IOSCO World Investor Week, to be held in October. Not wanting to take too much of your time, I would like to mention that the IOSCO recently published a consultation report on artificial intelligence in capital markets that I invite you to read and participate in the public consultation. Also, in the coming weeks, in May, the IOSCO will publish a series of reports on current issues that result from the rapid global digitalization of financial services and its impact on retail investors, therefore being in all regulators' agendas. I'm talking about copy trading, which is really popular mainly among young investors. Another report on digital engagement practices, where we see that investing is becoming investbling, where gamification is getting very close to investing. And also a third report on finfluencers. Florence will have a few words on this report in the coming hour. So you can see our work at the IOSCO covers skills, challenges, and competencies that are at the core of the 2025 Global Money Week edition. In closing, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all experts contributing to the OECD Global Money Week. The 2025 theme, Think Before You Follow Wise Money Tomorrow, is profoundly relevant. The young people that will be touched by the Global Money Week campaign in the coming days will no doubt be better equipped and hopefully more receptive to our messages when they start investing and hopefully through their lives. In our interconnected world, global campaigns tailored to regional and local contexts are essential to reach as many individuals as possible. the work done by the OECD and IOSCO matters, especially to unexperienced consumers and investors, because it will have an impact on their lives. By giving them awareness, knowledge, and curiosity, we are giving them a better opportunity of a life made from right, informed financial choices. And I would dare to say, a happier life. So to all supporters of Global Money Week, I wish us a successful week dedicated to advancing financial literacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Camille, to both you and Anna and all C8 members for being with us today. And let me wish you a good continuation of your meetings. I would now like to turn to our panel discussion, and I will hand it over to our moderator, Mr. Carmine Di Noia, OECD Director for Financial and Enterprise Affairs. Carmine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chiara. And so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone following online. And so happy Global Money Week. So I'm proud that the OECD, through the International Network on Financial Education, INFE, is coordinating this important campaign. I'm also delighted to moderate today's panel discussion on the role of influencers, so social media and behavioral biases in shaping the financial behavior of young people. Now, our discussion will explore how financial education can help addressing emerging trends that have implications for young people, financial literacy and decision-making, particularly the rise of financial influencers or finfluencer, and so the impact of social media, keeping in mind that financial decisions are often affected by a wide range of behavioral biases. And these trends are closely linked to this year's Global Money Week theme. So think before you follow, wise money tomorrow. So as Camille highlighted in his intervention on IOSCO recent work, this discussion is both timely and necessary. Digitalization has greatly expanded access to financial products, services, and information. It was mentioned before. While this is a welcome development, it also means consumers must be equipped with strong financial literacy skills to assess financial products, services, and the information and the advice they encounter. Now, one key challenge with social media is attention span. On average, users engage with content for just 8 to 12 seconds before moving on. So this constant flow of new information fosters a culture of instant gratification, where financial content often emphasizes, getting rich quick rather than really thoughtful decision making. There is a little time to pause, reflect, and truly learn. Social media also amplifies the fear of missing out, FOMO, F-O-M-O, which is particularly relevant for young people. As we heard earlier from Deputy Secretary General Takeuchi, PISA results confirm that peer influence plays a significant role in young people's financial behavior. But peer pressure doesn't just come from friends, it also comes from influencers, who often become aspirational figures. So young people may feel compelled to replicate their supposed success, so leading them to take high-risk financial decisions in an attempt to keep up or not miss out an opportunity. So I look forward to explore these challenges and, importantly, the role of financial education in addressing them, which is a topic of common interest also with IOSCO, and will be also a topic of discussion in the IOSCO annual meeting, where we have an IOSCO OECD roundtable. So let's see with our distinguished panelists also what will be the discussion here. Let me introduce now our 4 speakers who are there. So Linville Clark is the head of consumer education at the Financial Sector Conduct Authority of South Africa, leading G20 and a member of the OECD INFE Advisory Board. Good morning. Florence Korn is Deputy Director for Retail Investor Relations and Protection at the Autorité des Marchés Financiers in France. And actually, we have been pleased at the OECD to collaborate with the IMF on a project on new retail investors funded by the European Union, and Florence will share insights on that. Fatima Zaraziz is the Executive Director of the Moroccan Foundation for Financial Education and also serves on the OECD Info Advisory Board. And last but not least, Phil Lambert is a jump professor at the University of Sydney and an independent consultant. He chaired the expert group created by the ASIC, by the Australian Securities Investment Commission, on the financial well-being of young people, and has extensive experience also in curriculum development. So thank you all for joining us today to share your insights on strengthening young people financial literacy and helping them navigate an increasingly complex financial system. Now, I would like to start this panel discussion by asking you about the trends and challenges facing young people in today's financial market. So let me start maybe asking the first question to Linville. Have you observed these trends in South Africa? What is the role of social media and influencers in shaping your young people financial behavior in your experience based on your country? Are social media there exacerbating certain behavioral biases among young people? Please, the floor is yours, sir. Linville?
Damir, thank you, Carmine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to speak on this very auspicious occasion today, and congratulations to the team for getting this off the ground once again this year. And we're excited even in South Africa to do a lot more activities during this week. So I think, Carmine, yes, definitely these trends are increasingly evident in South Africa, and especially since COVID. We've seen the rise of social media platforms like obviously Instagram, YouTube, TikTok has become very topical. And in South Africa, the most popular one or widely used is Facebook still. This, of course, as you know, has led to the emergence of the so-called finfluencers, which try and who share financial advice and insights with their followers. And we've seen that while this can enhance financial education and awareness, there are significant risks, as a previous speaker has also pointed out, including misinformation, financial scams, and of course, reinforcement of harmful behaviors. In South Africa, we have approximately 26 million social media users, and 2/3 of that are youth. And we see that people spend an average of 9 hours daily online. So it is quite significant. It plays quite a huge role, social media and being online in people's lives. And more recently, you know, the youth focus have shifted from the millennials to their successors, the Generation Z, or the so-called Zoomers. And these youth have basically grown up with the internet and technology as integral parts of their lives. In South Africa, for instance, a recent study has shown that 39% of Generation Z follow influencers for financial advice. And then 46% of those actually endorse or trust the products endorsed by these influencers, up from 37% in 2023. And this obviously leads to, as you've asked, about the change in behavior. And we've heard you talk about FOMO, where the youth actually feels they are missing out, and without conducting proper research or analysis, they just follow whatever is put out there for them. The following part obviously is the herding effect that we speak about, where people change their behavior by just following, and obviously they trying to keep up with their peers. And social media platforms showcase these trends and for investments and spending habits. And then young people obviously feel they are pressurized to follow the crowd, so-called crowd, and they don't fully understand the risks. I think in South Africa as well, we have another economic factor, or other factors like economic factors, that influences why people are following finfluencers. We have high inflation rates, we have unemployment, we have high interest rates. And this impacts significantly on people's, or especially the youth, financial decisions. Uncertainty in terms of economics. So what happens is that social media platforms are now filled with these images of wealth and luxury, and they create the illusion that you can actually accumulate wealth quite quickly. And they also then become or create the illusion that the social media or the digital platform is now an expert, and your finfluencer is seen as an expert. And I think more and more after COVID, the internet has been seen as a reliable source of information, which obviously it's not. So young people often overestimate their financial knowledge and then take financial risks. In essence, I think social media platforms can create an environment where young people are constantly bombarded with information and images. It can trigger and reinforce behavioral biases, but these can have significant consequences for their financial well-being. And this is what we're trying to prevent. We're trying to prevent them from making the wrong financial decision based on influences or based on financial education that they've gotten or financial information they got from people that are not qualified or even authorized to actually give them the financial advice. But I'll speak a bit more about that a little bit later. Thanks, Carmine.
Thank you very much. Let's move from South Africa to Australia. Now, Phil, you worked on education policy as well as on the financial literacy and well-being of young people in Australia. So what's your view on the challenges and risks that young people are confronted with? What also competences do they need to thrive? Phil.
Well, thanks, Carmen. There are multiple risks, but also multiple ways that we can all support children and young people to navigate these. Of course, money was once a tangible, concrete concept, but it's no more. Children from as young as 3 years of age see us tapping with a mobile phone or with a smartwatch. And so the need is satisfied straight away. There's a need for what we have to focus on in this discussion on social media and influencers or finfluencers, and particularly them. Children and young people are influenced by many in their ecosystem, by their parents initially, of course, by their peers, as been mentioned, and by significant others. They can be teachers, they could be coaches, sports coaches, or religious elders. So the opportunity is there to equip our youngest citizens with a range of competencies that blend knowledge, skills, and dispositions. Financial literacy, of course, but also a range of other allied competencies such as critical thinking, and that's detecting bias, checking for reliability, resilience and self-regulation, delaying gratification, for example, language and visual literacy, with questions such as how am I being positioned by this, what is their audience and why are they positioning me this way, digital literacy, and of course media literacy. They're just a handful of fundamental competencies that we need to equip young people with for this complex world that we've actually created for them. The challenge, of course, is around equity and access. Some children and young people acquire such competencies from the home, at their particular school, and from their social economic circumstances that they live in and grow in. But too many, both locally and within countries and globally, do not. So the onus is on all of us to close the gaps, compensate for these inequities, and intervene. Schools are best placed for this. They are notionally our best safety net. But so many other institutions and sectors, including the finance sector, governments and community groups, can and should play their part, and parents, of course, too. We want all young people to thrive, not just survive.
Thank you. And this is, very important, your end, because this is the way that we have also to manage. Now, next, I would like also to ask Florence to what extent these trends so apply to retail investors. And again, we have done also an extensively work with the AMF, and you have seen in France a considerable increase in retail financial market participants since COVID-19, which actually motivated also the project that we have done with you, with the support of the European Commission on the financial literacy of new retail investors. So who are these new retail investors and how are they different from traditional ones? So Florence, please.
Yes, thank you. The IMF observed indeed over 1.5 million new investors since 2020, including 500,000 only in 2020. So these new retail investors seem to be younger, tech-savvy, not aware of all the risks, self-directed, and to have little experience of financial matters in the first data and studies available. But more data was needed to properly address them. So we decided to conduct a dedicated project, as you mentioned, on new investors, and we requested the technical support from the European Commission in October 2021. And our project was selected, and the OECD was designated as a provider. So the OECD carried out a study for the IMF in 2023, which helped us to know well these new investors. The majority of new retail investors are young, below 35 for 56%, mostly men for 64%, and living in urban centers such as the Paris region. Overall, they have higher income and qualifications than the average French population, and almost half of them belong to high socio-professional categories. And they are different from traditional investors. New investors hold several products, but have a strong preference for crypto assets. 54% invest in cryptos compared to 24% for traditional investors, and on the contrary, they hold less traditional products like life insurance, 33 versus 47%, and listed shares, 24 versus 36%. They invest mainly via digital intermediaries, and on average, they have a shorter investment horizon, less than 10 years for 2/3 of them versus 37% for traditional investors. They also reported a range of different reasons for starting to invest, but were more likely than traditional investors to cite curiosity, 29 versus 18%, and pleasure or fun, 18 to 15%. And many young new retail investors have also started to invest because they saw an offer on social media for 29% of those between 18 and 24 years of age. New investors are also self-directed, mostly looking for information and advice from a variety of formal and informal sources, including close acquaintances, 39 versus 27%, and again, young people aged 18 to 24 tend to look for information mainly through informal sources such as social media for 41% and influencers for 29%. And in addition, most new retail investors would like to make money fast, but declare to prefer moderately risky investments and have a limited perception of investment risk. They are also confident about their own financial knowledge, despite limited actual levels of knowledge in this field. 2/3 thought that their financial knowledge was rather high or very high, suggesting overconfidence in assessing their own level of financial knowledge. Because when asked 6 questions, they gave on average 3 correct answers. And finally, another important insight is that most new investors are online gamers or gamblers. 89% of them in all age groups reported playing video games online, and moreover, almost 9 out of 10 declared gambling, online or offline.
These are very, important and no, I don't want to say scaring numbers. They're important numbers also to build on also for, I would say, policy initiative. We have often also discussed them and quoted, because also is on the one side there is the positive part, so the participation and the curiosity, but also on the other side, I would say is important to address this participation in also a good way, maybe also for the real economy, but also for avoiding to be prey of scams and others. Let's see the experience in Morocco. So Fatima, Bank Al Maghrib, Central Bank of Morocco, created this the Morocco Foundation for for financial education, especially for young people. So what trends have you seen over the course of these years, and what particular challenges do young people in Morocco face? Fatima, please.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. Thank you. First of all, I'm very delighted to be part of this very important event. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, regarding the question, in Morocco, since our first strategic plan, the foundation identified young people as priority and permanent target group. We have tailored and developed dedicated information and training programs, and we have also organized special occasions such as Global Money Week, which Morocco has been organizing since 2022, the first year of Global Money Week. We have also adopted digital platforms, particularly social media, as said by colleagues, as continuous channel for sharing tailored financial education content. We have to adapt our content and our messages onto social media, because especially for youth and young people, because they are constantly connected, and we can easily find them and maybe address them on social media more than other channels. Well, our work with and for young people in financial education show us and reveal some key trends. First of, a strong desire, as said by, I think, the first intervention, quick success and self-development through entrepreneurship. We encounter young people that right after finishing their high school studies want to create and develop entrepreneur without any maybe competencies and skill in this area. And also we notice that they have particular interest in wealth accumulation and making money is in a short period. We also notice the emergence of new consumption habits and their influence on young people financial behaviors. We have also noticing the growing interest in investment, virtual currencies, and the stock market. They aren't interested by conventional and classic topic of financial education, such as planning, budgeting, saving, and so on. They are more interested by investment, virtual currencies, and new technologies, new financial services, and so on. We have also the increasing risk of cross-border fraud and scams. So today's youth are constantly exposed to a huge of information and multiple sources of influence. They also face increasingly digitalized services, but not all of them have the necessary tools to navigate this efficiency, and they don't have all of them the skills and competencies to deal with this topic and this subject of financial education and so on. So it is important also to highlight that in Morocco we have inequalities among young people influenced by factors such as gender. We have some disparities between gender, women and men, among young people. We have also the factor of family, socioeconomic background, which creates some disparities, and also geographic location, urban and rural, but also small cities and so on. In conclusion, I want to add that young people's connectivity and ease with digital tools have transformed how they engage with learning methods. We are constantly challenged to adapt our financial education resources accordingly. We have to innovate, to be creative, to respond and to satisfy, to motivate maybe young people to be interested in financial education topic in terms of delivery strategies, but also in terms of how we can provide with this financial education messages. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatima. And this, I would say, leads, because this is the situation we have seen in different, also geographical areas where we are. And again, this is in a sense, a learning by doing. In particular, we're talking about young people, but obviously the topic of financial literacy is broader. But then one dimension, and all of you have also underlined the role of technology, how it is easier, surely, with respect to our generation or the generation of our parents to let's say, to participate. And here the role of technology and also of the so-called, influencer is quite is a trend that we are following a lot, I would say, in all countries. And maybe I will start this time with Florence, because you have also contributed to the IOSCO, the broad work on this topic. So maybe what are the key results, the takeaways from an international point of view, but also, again, at national level, can you tell us more about how you deal with influencer at the AMF? Florence, please.
Yeah, thank you. So IOSCO, as you may know, is the international body that brings together the world securities regulators like the AMF. And one of its three objectives is investor protection. So given the rise in the number of influencers and their impact on retail investors' decision, IOSCO decided to conduct work on that topic. And IOSCO members were surveyed and a report was elaborated. And then a public consultation was held from 19 November 24 to 20 January 25. And the report is now under finalization by the C8, but also by members from two other committees, and will be published in May. And it focuses on mitigating potential risks posed by influencers. So the report explores the evolving landscape of influencers, the associated potential benefits and risks, and the current regulatory responses across jurisdictions. And it highlights that many influencers are not familiar with traditional financial regulatory frameworks and may operate outside them, posing challenges for enforcement and oversight. It identifies potential gaps in regulatory coverage, particularly for unregistered individuals who influence retail investors without the professional qualifications or oversight required of registered investment advice professionals. And additionally, the global reach of social media complicates jurisdictional oversight and enforcement, necessitating enhanced international cooperation among securities regulators. And despite these challenges, securities regulators in various jurisdictions have begun to address the influencer phenomenon through a mix of supervisory actions, enforcement measures, and educational initiatives. Education plays a crucial role in mitigating the risks associated with influencers. So the report details various investor education initiatives undertaken by securities regulators to raise awareness of the potential pitfalls of following influencers' advice. And for influencers, some securities regulators have also developed targeted educational content to improve their understanding of legal and ethical standards, emphasizing the importance of transparency and balanced communication. And to address these challenges, it finally proposes a set of good practices for securities regulators, market intermediaries, and influencers themselves. And in addition, it offers 10 practical tips for retail investors that follow or engage with influencers. And regarding the AMF work on influencers, it is important to have in mind that we have alone commercial influence in France since June 2023. So in the AMF remit, this law implies a ban on advertising for high-risk products like binary options and some CFDs, and the necessity for influencers to mention the collaboration partnership with the firm. And VIMF has a partnership with the ARPP, which is a French advertising self-regulatory organization since 2011. And in 2021, the ARPP launched the Responsible Influence Certificate, a training for influencers. And we have then collaborated to design a model specific to the financial sector, launched in September 23 to educate influencers. So this model covers investment products like equities, bonds, ETF funds, and the various services offered like investment advice. It also focuses on trading and investment recommendations, authorized professionals on how to check authorizations, crypto assets, miscellaneous assets, and crowdfunding. And the two authorities also set out in this module the rules to follow when communicating an investment offer. And to pass it, influencers must obtain a minimum of 75% of correct answers to 25 multiple choice questions. And 62 influencers are currently certified. And finally, when market intermediaries use influencers to promote their product and services, the IMF encourages them to select certified influencers.
This is interesting, also the certification issue. Now, maybe the idea also for all those listening to us is that we don't want to give the impression that this is all bad. So that actually there are many, many opportunities also in terms of information and that influencer can have. So maybe this is maybe for you, Fatima, what's the approach of the foundation towards influencers? So you see them only as a risk or also as an opportunity, or maybe both of them, as in many things of life?
Okay, thank you. Well, in Morocco, the presence of influencers is still in its early stages. We don't have a huge number of influencers, but we have, if I can say it as a general influencer, we have a lot of general influencer who addresses sometimes topic concerning saving, financial planning, investment. We have also many influencers specialized for entrepreneurs, supporting for entrepreneurs who also deal with some management, business, financial topics and issues. So in this context, at the foundation, we see, to respond to maybe to your question directly, we see influencer as player in the financial environment and landscape. We have to take them for us, we have to take them into account, not ignoring them, maybe taking advantage from some of them, some reliable influencer. Because through them, we are aware of the trends and interests of young people. They could be a source of information for us, which will show us information about behaviors of young people on social media, and also the approach adopted by this influencer and how young people interact with them. This can orient our decision, our initiatives and programs dedicated to young people. But the presence of influencer on social media make us aware of the risk of unreliable information and temptation, which we have to face it through some programs and action. So our approach is based on three main points. The first one is developing structured financial education programs to strengthen youth resilience. We work strongly and with some concerned institution by young people, such as the Ministry of National Education, universities, and so on, to integrate financial education in as early as possible in the curricula school. We have succeeded 3 years ago to integrate it in primary school, and now we collaborate with this ministry to introduce it in the college and lycée, how we can say it in English. So we also develop financial education programs for parents. Well, we start to do this for parents, for also teachers and educators, because they have a very important role to extend the impact on children and young people concerning how to analyze offers and messages and the content they receive through social media and from influencers. So developing their capacities both at schools, but also through their environment and ecosystem, such as I said, teachers and parents. We also, and this is, I think, a very important point, mobilize stakeholders to make youth financial education a priority. I think that we have a network of very important stakeholders who are really concerned by financial education, by financial inclusion, but also by youth and by education, national education. We maintain, the second point, we maintain strong presence on social media in collaboration with financial regulators. We have in Morocco three regulators, Central Bank and also Authority for Capital Market and the Authority of Control of Insurance. So we collaborate with the regulators and we develop a permanent presence on social media with validate and reliable messages to we try to make this information and this trustworthy information and content available to young people on social media. We don't have to let the free places for influencer alone, but we have to also be present in quantity and also in quality, and in the way which is the most interesting for young people. So, as I said, we have to boost information and amplify the continuous rolling out of official and validated messages. We have also to strengthen and sponsor this the source of information, official source on information, to establish them as trusted reference for young people. We don't have to lead to let young people exposed and facing alone the fin influencer and social media in general. The last point is the engagement of fin influencers, but in a selectively way. We have some experiences in this area. We have, but before we have to monitor and analyze the message to ensure alignment with public interest, to select which influencer could be our partner or could be trained by the foundation and regulators, and provide them with materials, financial education materials to disseminate to young people. So we verify also their geographic reach and legal compliances as registered entities. We collaborate only with official influencers who have enterprise or are registered entities, not others. We also analyze the profiles of these influencers, and also the gender. We have to have both women and men influencer to increase the reach, and also their technical expertise in terms of financial backgrounds and also background of supporting consultant and supporting young people. We also avoid to rely on just one or two influencers for all messages, because this could undermine their credibility. When we train them and when we provide them with our content and pedagogical materials, they are free to use these materials in the way they want. We don't give them guidelines or orientation to use it, but they are free to use it in the way they want it. So to maybe to preserve their credibility on the social media and with young people. Very quickly, some example of experience of collaboration with some influencers. We have collaborating with a woman influencer and entrepreneur to address financial topic relevant to women, thereby empowering them to make informed financial decision. It was a woman who were very famous on social media, particularly for community of women. So we collaborate with her. We have also have a partner with a youth-focused influencer. She was a goodwill ambassador for the European Union, so we choose very important influencer that have historic and background and credibility on the social media. We have also worked with popular Finn influencer and who is also teacher at university and also researcher on financial topics, who organize both online and in-person seminars on investment and trading. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see now in terms of policy, so what can be done in terms of financial education to address these trends and equip young people with the skills they need, let's see, to think before they follow and end up with wise money tomorrow, which is our Global Money Week themes, as it is in said. So Florence, maybe back to you. Simply going back to the result of the study that developed by the AMF and the OECD that we have just mentioned. So what is the AMF doing to improve the financial literacy of new and young investors in France? Florence.
Yeah, thank you. So to reach out and to educate young people, the AMF first launched an Instagram account in September 2021, and we post usually twice a week. We explain some words and acronyms. We use a lot in French. What is true or fake on an investment topic, and sometimes it was on influencers. Investing, also where to start, for example, to explain investment risks and so on. And regarding our project on new investors with the OECD and the European Commission, we jointly produced educational content with an educational communication agency, and they were based on the lesson learned from the study and the proposed OECD financial literacy strategy for the AMF. And this strategy is structured around 4 thematic priorities. Support new retail investors to make well-informed investment by encouraging them to get informed from reliable and diversified sources, improve their financial knowledge, notably regarding high-risk investment, support them to align their investments with their risk profile, and support them to avoid becoming victims of fraud and scams. And this content were disseminated through a campaign, Investipolis Mysteries, launched in October 24 for the World Investor Week that Camille mentioned. And they were designed with a different mood tailored to the target group, inspired by video games and comics, and disseminated on new investors' preferred communication channels, Instagram and TikTok. We also have a TikTok account, but only for campaigns. So new investors, as you can see here on the slide, were immersed in the fictitious world of Investipolis. So they followed the adventures of a hero, the second character on the slide, who visits 4 districts of Investipolis and meets different characters who will try to help or trap him. So you can see some of the other characters also. And each district addresses a specific thematic of the strategy through videos, infographics, and comics. And the campaign led new investors to a dedicated webpage where they were able to find some games to compete with the bosses of Investipolis. And one of the comics is about being cautious regarding information shared by influencers. And you can see a part of it on the right above. And you also have below images of videos, so you can see the universe of Investipolis and few characters experiencing issues while investing and memos about investment products. And on the second slide, so you can see a part of the web page and the beginning of the 4 games, which were intended to make people learn more about how to be cautious. And one very important point was the use of the right tone, not infantilizing and not changing, and also the appropriate formats. And we were very satisfied with the results of the campaign because we had 3 million impressions on Instagram and 14 million impressions on TikTok. And it is often the case. We have more impressions on TikTok. It is very, very good to use this social media for campaign to reach out to new investors. And we will continue to roll out the strategy to improve the financial literacy of new and young investors in France, because one campaign is not enough. And we plan this year another campaign and a first season of a new podcast called Decoding Finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. I always smile when TikTok is mentioned because I was a commissioner at the Italian Securities Commission. I'm an economist. I have 3 kids, and they never understood what I was doing. You know, when they speak with their friends, what is a commissioner? You have the gun. But what is an economist? You're not a lawyer, a pharmacist, a butcher. So they never knew what their father was doing, and so they were never proud of that. Only once it happened some years ago, and they came back home and they said, Papa, we're very proud of you. Our friends, they know you. I said, why? You know what? You are on TikTok. Now, someone apparently put not apparently, then I checked, really, a small, like 30 seconds video. Actually, I was talking about financial education. And this was when we presented at Consob, the report on that. And so, no, this is just to say I like very much also the comics. We need also to speak with the language, also with the appropriate language, not really treating also young people as an infant, but also, so it's really to go on the same, you know, the same playground in a sense. Okay. Linville, so what is the financial education approach also that in South Africa and the Commission towards this trend? So how this also fit into the broader priorities, as I mentioned before, obviously of the G20 presidency this year?
Thanks, Carmine, and it's good to hear that you can give us some advice on how to become a TikTok star. So yes, look, as a regulator, we have to believe that if you are providing what is essentially a recommendation or advice to your followers as such, you do require a license, or you need to be authorized to do so. So all our messaging, all our consumer messaging is very importantly centered around the point that the public should not get advice from an unqualified person, somebody who is not subject to supervision or to enforcement. So we have actually started gathering data from financial institutions as well as from consumers to start informing us around what kind of regulation should be put in place for influencers. In addition to that, we've also established a consumer advisory panel, and some of its members are financial journalists and even finfluencers. And they are at the moment looking at how do we actually approach the issue of finfluencers from a consumer point of view, and that's quite high on the agenda. From a financial literacy point of view, I think our financial literacy levels in South Africa is quite low. It's at the moment the index is at about 52 out of 100. So what we've now done is, in terms of all our activities, the messaging that goes out from where to get your financial advice from is now being punted throughout all the projects, throughout all the activities, so that everybody that attends these activities knows exactly what is legal, let's call it legal advice, and what is unbiased advice, because you do get finfluencers or influencers that are paid by financial institutions to actually punt their products. And for us, this is maybe a conflict of interest. We also have obviously our Global Money Week, our Money Smart Week, which is similar to Global Money Week. And this covers not only youth, but everybody living in South Africa. And then finally, we don't believe that this matter can be approached from the regulator's point of view. If we don't work together in partnership with financial institutions, stakeholders, and have centralized or uniform messaging around finfluencers and the risks that they carry, but also they can carry some kind of advantage in terms of making you aware of financial products or the risks of financial products. So that's quite important that we form partnerships with the financial industry, and we've got a National Consumer Financial Education Committee that coordinates financial activities throughout the country. Then coming back to the G20, and as you know, we are the G20 presidency this year. We have the G20 presidency, and our work that is being proposed, especially in the work of financial inclusion, is to move from access to usage of financial products and services. And we're doing this to further translate the gains we have made in access to meaningful benefits to consumers in terms of usage. And I think it's during the usage part where financial capability plays a huge role, and where obtaining that sound advice and legal advice from credible sources are quite crucial in making financial decisions. And obviously, this will assist in becoming financially well. So we're hoping that this work will assist in building on the work done by Brazil in 2024 on financial well-being, and maybe also then raise the issue on financial of influencers. And then finally, the theme of our presidency this year is solidarity, equality, sustainability, and one of the task forces that was established to drive the high-level deliverables for the G20 presidency is to address artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation for sustainable finance or for sustainable development. And I believe that finfluencers will be very high on the agenda. So from a South African point of view, we're slow in starting. We haven't reached the point of actually looking at regulating finfluencers, but we're getting there, because we do realize that financial influencers are more and more playing a very huge role in people's lives because of their access to the internet, and because they are there in your face on digital platforms, and especially on TikTok and those kind of platforms. So that's basically our approach, Carmine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll see all of you on TikTok. Now back to Morocco, Fatima. No, I mean, you extensively, presented also the situation in Morocco, also the approach, the foundation to financial education for young people. Now, maybe we are slightly late, but what have been maybe some important, the key success factors, but also maybe the challenges in coordinating these efforts? Because I think this can be very useful for many of our attendees, please. Fatima.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think I have to mention that young people are identified as a priority target of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy. We have National Financial Inclusion Strategy in Morocco, launched on 2019 by Central Bank and the Ministry of Economic and Finance. So the fact that youth are priority, we have national programs dedicated to this target. And we have also commitment from national institution and also ministries and also private sector around this, around common objectives and also around the target of young people. So in this context, over the year, we have developed strategic partnership with for financial literacy among young people. On one hand, we have partnership and collaboration with institutions that educate and train and to support youth, such as I said it before, ministries, universities, but we have also collaboration, a very important collaboration with all vocational training institutions for youth people. We have also, this is particularity maybe in Morocco, the agency against illiteracy, because we have some people, range of people that are illiterate. So we collaborate with this agency to address also youth, young people who live maybe before finishing their study, the school. We have also, in the other hand, the financial sector. We have, as I said before, the regulators, who are our main stakeholders and partners for financial education for youth, but also for other target priorities. They have a responsibility and mission of protecting consumer protection, but also they act under the corporate social responsibility. And we have also some collaboration with the private sector. We collaborate with the major banking groups through, as well as the regulators, corporate social responsibility structures, and also through their programs for and initiatives for youth. We, in terms of programs and content, we develop both short-term and long-term financial education programs. Our goal is to the gradual and sustainable integration of financial education into curricula, as well as at schools, but also university and vocational training institution. We also have developed program with all partners involved with young people, ONG, and so on. And at the same time, we implement short-term initiatives such as Global Money Week and also other annual events like World Saving Day, which is a week for only for the topic of saving. But we have also a Women Financial Culture campaign on the occasion of 8 March. So these events and annual occasion are, we make a focus on young people and encourage our partners to do the same. We have progressive and sustainable approach to financial education initiative. So maybe and very quickly some key challenges. I have to say maybe the rapid evolution of young people expectations and financial education trends. The need for relevant financial education content that follows and anticipate. We have to anticipate these changes and evolution. We have to be innovative, continuous innovation in strategy for delivering financial education programs. And we have to, one of our challenges is to identify the right financial education facilitators. Is it the teacher, educators, civil society actors, or influencers? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fatima. Finally, Phil, so from your experience in Australia, but also in other countries, you have been working with, to enhance young people's financial well-being. So what are some of the key issues that educators need to keep in mind in this evolving and dynamic context. So to ensure that financial education is effective in the area of social media. So what's the role of schools? Who educate educators? This is the issue. Phil.
Thank you, Carmen. Schools, by their nature, are sources of learning and education. So it's not just embedding financial literacy here and there in the curriculum and the responsibility of mathematics teachers and commerce or economics teachers. It's everybody's business, every teacher's business. The competencies I mentioned earlier are cross-curriculum in nature, or what the OECD or UNESCO call transformational or transversal competencies. The elements of each, when seen as fundamental for navigating the complexities of life and future work, need to be elevated in importance. Some countries have done this well, others recognise but have difficulties doing this, and much of the work that I do is helping countries, supporting them in how to embed these competencies in authentic ways in their curriculum and in their teaching practice. Schools, like any other enterprise, they plan events, they make purchases, they set prices, and they raise funds for specific purchases. So they can be engaging students in these activities, extending outside the classroom, involving them in budgeting, in cost-benefit analysis, and importantly, setting a goal, researching and reviewing funding sources and the related risks involved. All of these can happen within the school. But schools too are part of a broader ecosystem that has the potential to enhance student learning and teachers' understanding as well. So looking to partner with local businesses, NGOs and industry groups, it can offer mutual benefits. Both sides can benefit from that. Finally, there's no escaping the new reality of AI-generated information and the ethical dispositions and marketing skills of influencers and finfluencers. They have the potential to either impact negatively or positively on a young person's decision-making and choices. Australia has put in place some strong regulations and sanctions around influencers and finfluencers. However, the issue is global, as is the practice and location of finfluencers. So schools, whether they've chosen to ban technologies or not, must educate students to be savvy consumers and smart money managers. We can't leave young people's capabilities in money matters to upbringing or chance. We owe them far more than that, Carmen.
So thank you very much. We are just on time. So thanks for contributing to this very interesting discussion and to all for tuning in to listen. It's a bit late to get questions, but some of them I saw also on the chat was active. So we hope this has given you useful insights for leading your Global Money Week activities this week, but also your financial education initiatives all year round. We have complex and evolving challenges ahead of us to protect children and young people and equip them with the financial skills they need, to take wise financial decisions. In doing so, we need a joint effort, I think, from all relevant parties, from policymakers to school, and also Phil, as you mentioned, from financial regulators, many of you here, to parents and teachers. On our side, this is a core activity of the OECD. I would say abroad, but also in our directorate. We are working already on the next also PISA financial literacy, results analysis will be 2029, where we will encourage all countries to opt in these, and we are working with many of you because it's important to have data. Also, with the AMF experience shows and many others, if you have data, you can have evidence-based, policy decisions. And so and as also this was shown by all of you, there are no boundaries, even more in this market. Influencers, the internet, this is global. It's not that I'm having the scam from Italy in Italy, from France in France. This is everywhere. So having good data, and again, as you may know, the PISA is having this test all over the world of 15 years old guys, so boys and girls. So I think this is quite interesting. So we will share actually the recording of the Global Money Week launch on the website in a few days. And so thank you again. Thank you for all the speakers, all the attendees. Still, there are many there. And I wish you all a fruitful Global Money Week campaign. So thank you very much. Bye.